All right, so this week our language arts weekly skills are right here. We're going to go through them. So make sure you watch this at the Monday, the beginning of the week, so you can complete your assignments. So our first thing is historical fiction. So a historical fiction is just what it sounds like. So we know what fiction is. Fiction, another word for fiction, another synonym, same word would be fake. So fiction is a fake story. Um, it's not based on a true story, but it could happen, but it's made up. Um, and historical means from the root word history. So something that could have happened in history in the past. So it has historical facts in it, but it's in a made up story. So this week you'll be reading historical fiction stories that have pieces of history in it. And these are my favorite stories. I love pieces of history, and you can learn so much, but in kind of just a fake setting, fictional setting is what we would use that word. So this week you'll be reading stories like Sailing to America. Um, Actually, three stories. One about immigrants from Mexico. That's another story, not this one. And then this is also about people who come from a different country to America. And then also another one about a family from Russia. So they're all about immigrants and people who have moved here from other countries. So these are all historical fiction. I love them. So hopefully you enjoy them this week. And again, historical fiction is a made-up story that takes place in the past. Um, it has illustrations that show historical details. It also has facts. So see if you can kind of identify some of those this week, facts from history. But so it almost is like could be a true story, but it's made up characters and settings. But definitely uh, things that could really take place. Um, so that's historical fiction. So then our next, um, let's go ahead and skip down to theme, okay? So last week we worked on theme as well. And let's go ahead and read again what theme is. And theme again is the author's message. What is the author, the person who wrote the story? What is the author trying to get across? What message are they trying to teach you? And we're going to show that by filling out a graphic organizer, kind of like an outline. You guys did a really good job on that last week. And you put a detail, 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 and then you come up with what do you think the author is trying to teach you. So those details will tell you exactly what that theme is, the message that the author is getting across. It's what the characters think and do. So, so like this, it was Mama and Pa's dream to live in America, and this is from Sailing to America. So you'll find those details, and you need to write your own details in your graphic organizer that looks exactly like this. So theme, and then your next one is called similes. All right, so similes are sentences that authors or writers use to make a really great picture in your mind. It makes the stories come alive, and really good authors use these really well. They just describe things in a different way. So let's look at a few similes here. All right, so a simile compares, what a simile is they compare two two different things. Similes are a lot easier than metaphors that we've already studied, but similes compare two different things using the word like or as. So it makes it really easy to identify similes and to use them. This is a simile. Her cheeks were like red roses. Of course, they weren't like red roses, but it paints a picture in your mind that her cheeks were really red, because a lot of times roses are red or pink. So her cheeks were like red roses. So let's see here. Okay, so in Sailing to America, the sentence, the waves were as big as mountains, that paints a picture in our mind that those waves were probably pretty large, pretty tall, like a mountain. So they were used the word as. So the simile compares waves looked like mountains, looked huge and tall. So they use the word like and as to compare things that really it doesn't look like it, but it's an over exaggeration. So those are really fun, and you'll be working with similes this week. And let's go to our next thing here. Working with long E sound. Okay, so the long E sound would be the sound of what? What does a long E make? So it says its name E. And they use the long E. You can write words with a long E in many different ways. So long E spelled like EE is E, like in free. And long E spelled EA can also be E, like in clean. And the long E spelled IE is also can be E as well. And you would find that up here at field would be the long E sound there. Also, if there's an E at the end of a word with a consonant here, and so EE consonant with the E on the end. So let's go ahead and find that word. So the word free. So here we have EE and then consonant Z with the E on the end makes the E's already say the sound of E because they're two E's side by side. So you have to memorize the way you spell the E sound this week. It's very important that you identify those and can differentiate between those sounds. So that is the tricky part of the spelling words this week. Okay, and the last thing is singular and plural nouns. So we've already talked about how nouns are person, place, or thing. And singular just means one, and plural noun means more than one. And you can, you'll be working with how to put an S on the end to make it more than one, or it could be ES on the end. So it just depends on the word. So you'll be working with that in your grammar. So plural means more than one, which usually has an ES or S on the end. So rat is singular. Rats would be plural. Let's see. A bunch would be a singular noun, like a bunch of grapes. And bunches would be plural. So bunches. And you would spell that with an ES. So be aware of that on your worksheet this week. So lots of things, lots of good things you're learning this week, and have a great one. Have a good day. Bye-bye.